Imola. A track packed with history, high-speed drama and plenty of challenges. This guide will show you how to tackle the iconic corners, perfect your braking and find those critical tenths, whether it's mastering Variante Alta or nailing the run through Rivazza. We've got you covered, so let's crack on with the guide. Imola, the festival of speed, or at least one of them, because the other one's Monza. Why is it Italian tracks seem to be really fast? Anywho, turn 1 is apparently that kink. No idea why it's turn 1, but going down to turn 2, we are looking for that 50-meter marker out there. Brake in a nice straight line down the white line, avoid the curb. You can clip the red and white, but avoid the sausage curbs. I got a little bit deep into that corner, but it's okay because I'm full throttle through turn 3, and that's what you want. You want absolute full throttle as early as possible because turn 3 and turn 4 are absolutely flat out. Be careful on the first few laps there. There will be crashes in that first chicane. It is bound to happen. It always happens. It's an Italian circuit with a bad turn 1, turn 2. Coming down to the second chicane now, you need to compromise this first one. So we're looking at the 50-meter marker again. Braking and lifting off, just dabbing off down into a gear just as we go around the corner. Keep how far left I am to really open up this right-hander. This is where you're going to get the speed through this section. Compromise that first left to maximize that right-hander in this little run into the hairpin. This hairpin is another place to gain a lot of time, but you do leave yourself vulnerable for dive bombs. So brake just at the 50 marker, nice and late into the corner, and a nice late apex just about now because you get on full throttle much easier. Again, be careful. This car's second gear does tend to wheel spin, so make sure you get good traction out the corner and a good run up to the hill. Now, this kink up here is very, very, very close to being flat out, and you do have to take some of the apex curb, but not too much. So at this point, there's a little sort of scuff there. Little drag of brakes, 5th gear, keep it in 5th gear, get on throttle on the apex, and do not run too far wide. There's an off-track out there, ask Lando Norris, he knows all about it, but there is an off-track, so be cautious. Down the hill now to this beautiful double right-hander. Now, this first corner is flat out, so we're braking using the Imola sign, that's our turning point, and then as we go through the apex, we want to aim for the outside of the curbing here, and this is where we're braking. Nice and gentle inputs through here, you're carrying a lot of speed, and you need to get the car slow down in a controlled manner. People will be braking for that first one though, so be cautious if you can take it full throttle. Be very, very cautious because again, crashes can happen. The final chicane, probably the worst chicane on iRacing to be honest because of the off tracks. 50-meter marker, we're braking all the way down into second gear. Low, a little bit of curb on this one, and I take more on this one. Now, you can take more of the first curb and less on the second one to get a better exit, but do not straddle both the curbs. Pick one and get your line through it and you should be golden. So yeah, pick a curb to actually flow over and otherwise miss the other one, whatever you do around there. They're both the same on exits, and this is going to be a huge dive bomb fest into the last corner. Anyway, again, we're using the little coloured markers on the wall right over there. Brake all the way down into third gear for this one. Loads of curb. Get it slowed down and get it on throttle as soon as you can. Do not run wide on exit because there's an off track. And you can cut this a little bit, but don't cut it too much because there's an off track there. And there's also an off track on exit. Now, I straddle the curb there because the car doesn't bottom out. This does have a history of that corner of cars bottoming out. So if you're on an open setup and you are bottoming out, you will lose momentum down this massive straight. So avoid running that far wide on that curb. Put the right tyres on it and you should be golden. But that is a lap done and dusted in the dry. And this week in iRacing, it does have a wet. Imola in the wet. Yes, this week there is a chance of wet weather in the open session. If you're watching this in the future, it might be different. So check the iRacing schedule or check my track guide schedule on Discord because I do put them on there as well. Anyway, this place in the wet is quite slippery. It seems to be quite smooth tarmac, and that really does affect your wet lines quite a lot. You will see later in the lap where I lose it and where I almost lose it. Anyway, the green marking there on the fencing, that's where we want to brake. We're in the middle of the circuit. Do not go to the right-hand side, and I go very, very deep into the corner to get away from the curving. I'm still slowing down the car and trying to keep hold of it. Around this one, I'm not too bad, just teasing the throttle. I could probably compromise turn 2 a little better to get around turn 3, but again, this one around here is kind of not full throttle anyway, so we're not trying to maximize our straight line speed, we're just trying to get around safely. Keep a little bit of throttle around there on the racing line just to keep the rear end in check, which is really, really important in the wet. Coming down to this one, we are having to brake quite heavily. So we're using the 50-meter marker just before it, brake in the middle of the circuit again, and I go for the racing line on the apex. Get a load of understeer there. I'm trying to stay far left-hand side to then go through this one. Again, I'm a little bit away from the curb, but look at the car twitching because I am on the rubberized line. It's not that brilliant, but that's the only way through there, to be honest. It's not too bad because we've got downforce on our sides. The hairpin, kind of a similar line, but we're going to brake deeper into the corner. So at the service road on the right, brake nice and deep into the corner, and then get the rotation done. Cut back for a really, really late apex, so you're crossing the rubberized line at this point, and you're accelerating in the middle of the circuit. You see a big snap there of the rubberized line, but I want to stay as far left middle if I can, because that's where the grip is. Coming up to the kink at the top of the hill, and yeah, well, this is fun, to be honest. This is very, very slippery up here as well. This is where it gets really, really slippery. So 50-meter marker again, just so we pass it, we're braking nice and easy, and I'm going deep into the corner again. See, look at the car twitching under braking because it's getting slippery all the way around the outside because there's no wet there, and be careful on accelerating on this curb here on the right-hand side. All curbs and white lines are very, very slippery. Downhill now, I want to stay sort of middle of the circuit, and we are using the same markers in the dry, so we're using this one as a braking point. So again, brake nice and easy, and I do have to take the curb because I can't run all the way outside because I want the outside now, and look how slippery it is through here. I get a little bit of a snap through here, and I'm going first gear for this one. This is how slow this corner is, and there's just no grip. There seems to be an utter river running down there. Surviving through there in the wet is going to be very, very interesting, so take your time through there and make sure to finish. Wet racing on iRacing is a game of survival, not generally a game of lap time. If you keep it out the wall, you'll do well. Chicane here, we're in the middle of the circuit for most efficient braking zone, and we're using the third tree up from the 50-meter mark, if that makes sense. Brake nice and easy into the corner, get it slowed down. Lots of curb on this one. We're going much, much slower than we do in the dry, so take it nice and easy. And again, be careful of acceleration and understeer getting on this curb. You see another big snap there. So if you can get around it, you'll be fine, but when you're accelerating on a curb, just be ultra cautious and not go full throttle. Coming down the hill now, this little kink is absolutely flat out, but we do need to brake quite early, so we've got to spot our braking point nice and early. That's that 100-meter marker there. Get to the middle of the circuit and brake downhill nice and gently. Remember, it is downhill, so be very, very cautious. Nice and deep into the corner, try and stay off that rubberized shiny line you can see there, and get it all the way around. You see I do have a little bit of a snap there. Just be easy on acceleration, and this is the last corner. Again, try and get on throttle as early as you can, but try and not wheel spin on the way out. You see I'm on the rubberized line. It's not really reacting the way I want, and I get a little bit of a snap oversteer, but I am on full throttle now, so we are away. It's an okay circuit in the wet. It is a little bit slippery. If you've done Fuji in the wet in Formula cars and things like that, that seems to be my go-to slippery track, to be honest. Fuji, it's kind of like that. You just have to dance around and be very, very cautious in certain areas, particularly on that massive infield section. Otherwise, hope you did enjoy. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.